My darkness or my ignorance has been dispelled by the new knowledge that I acquire through whatever techniques that I follow, and I become enlightened.
We learn about life through questions.
How do we manage that in a relationship?
Can it also affect the circumstances?
Are they able to really understand any?
Why all these three things are linked together?
So what do we do with social media?
To answer some of these, Mr. Praveen Mankar, founder of Pratibimb Charitable Trust, brings to you Face to Face. This week we are talking about the significance of light.
Asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from the fear of death to the knowledge of immortality. First, I want to know, before we move to the spiritual aspect of light, why do we light lamps on every auspicious occasions in India?
It's very simple. We light lamps, A, to spread light, B, to dispel ignorance, darkness, and C, to celebrate this phenomenon called life.
Okay. So now, what do we mean by light in a spiritual sense? We know light as in physics, what we study, but what do
we
we
don't
mean?
know light at all. Even in physics, we don't know light. Because the human eyes are incapable of seeing light. Human eyes can only see objects in the presence of light. A very simple experiment which we witness but we don't pay attention to is a beam of sunlight coming through a window into our living room. Now you will see a lot of fibrous particles floating in that beam of sunlight.
Yes.
If those particles were not there, you wouldn't know the path of the beam. You are seeing the particles in that beam, you are not seeing the beam. You are seeing the patch of light on the floor, you are not seeing the beam. So light cannot be seen by human eyes. Human eyes are incapable of seeing light. As physics, you would have studied light as vibrations with amplitude and frequency, which is fine. But have you experienced light? The answer is a straightforward no.
Okay, and now the other aspect. When we say darkness in the spiritual sense. So what really are we talking about? What is that darkness in spiritual sense?
Absence of light.
So meaning what? It's like a negative...
No, there is nothing negative. It is like hot and cold. When you say hot, you are feeling the temperature. When you say cold, you are not feeling the temperature. So, it is absence of heat is equal to cold.
Okay. So, it's just
so
that.
Absence of light is equal to dark.
Okay.
Now, if you talk spiritually, when you say spiritual science or spiritual subject, it is knowledge about the truth of life. When I say spirit, spirit is the force or the energy that energizes any living entity. So it could be a tree, which is a living entity. There is a spirit inside the tree that makes the tree live and grow. There is a spirit inside an animal that makes the animal live and grow. There is a spirit inside a human being that makes the human being operate the way he operates. So when you say spirituality, then it is of that entity that makes us live. What do we know of the spirit? Hardly anything. And therefore we say spiritually we are like beggars. We don't have enough riches as far as spiritual knowledge is concerned. Enlightening ourselves through various techniques to understand spirituality or the spirit within us is the subject of light. I get enlightened. That means my darkness or my ignorance has been dispelled by the new knowledge that I acquire through whatever techniques that I follow, and I become enlightened.
So that means each one of us has this light within ourselves.
That's a biological fact.
Which we need to discover.
Yes.
And how would you say that can be achieved?
There are techniques. How do you become a doctor? There are techniques of teaching and practices which the student has to undertake before he qualifies to be a doctor. or an engineer or a chartered accountant. Similarly, there are certain practices which you need to undertake, acquire the experience, and become a spiritually enlightened entity. Now, in physical sciences, whenever you make a discovery or whenever you find out a truth, like say Newton discovered the law of gravity, so they say. So it is now attributed to Newton, Newton's law of gravity or Newton's 3 laws of motion. So there is a name given to the discoverer. But in spirituality, when you say discovery of light, you may discover the light, but your experience or experiments may bring no result to me. Discovery of the law of gravity is understood by every common man.
It applies to everything also.
All objects fall down. Simple. I have understood the law of gravity. Everything falls down. There is a force of attraction that pulls an object to itself. Newton discovered it. Everybody understood it. You discovered your light and you narrated your experience of light and you narrated your techniques of discovering light. I don't understand it. I have not experienced the light. I understood when you told me ecstatically that I saw the spiritual light, I saw something shining here, I saw something shining here. Wonderful, I understood what you're saying. Have I seen something here or here? No, I have not. I have not experienced it. So in spiritual science, everybody is an independent scientist.
And you have to work.
And everybody has to experiment with his laboratory, with his instruments to discover the same truth which you have discovered.
But isn't that something very difficult to really...
Of course. If you spend 10 years to get a school leaving certificate, which is just an ordinary piece of paper, and you have struggled for 10, 11, 12 years to get that piece of paper, here you want an answer in life just like that.
Okay.
But it doesn't happen. So the struggle is inevitable, the effort is inevitable. No pain, no gain.
True. But then people also feel that when one gets enlightened, you're kind of taken away from the worldly pleasures.
Why should I be?
I mean, that's just a normal thought process. Arey, moksha ke liye ke piche hai wo. So he's like going to give up everything in life. How correct is that understanding?
Your idea of pleasure is different from my idea of pleasure. Pleasure is subjective. So you enjoy the material goods. I enjoy the spiritual goods. So pleasure is completely relative.
That's true. But somebody who is materialistic, does he have to give up all that to then become, to get enlightened?
Not necessarily. Yeah. Give up, that subject of giving up is a misnomer. I don't give up anything. I choose something.
Okay. It happens.
It has
like
been
a journey.
Projected that I have to give up something. No, I choose something else instead of this. If I am in the area of marriage and I have got 3 proposals, I choose one wife. That doesn't mean I have given up those 2.
But you have, kind of.
Not at all. They were never mine. I never gave up. I chose this wife.
Okay, you have to look at it
yes.
like that. Okay.
So when I am selecting my spiritual side of things, I am not giving up anything. I am choosing this.
Okay.
But I am focusing on giving up. I am not focusing on what I have got.
Okay.
And that's the whole problem. People are only talking in terms of I have to give up things. My friend, you are getting things. Look at what you are getting.
So it's something like that. Yeah, okay. And what is this term called divine light?
As I said, you can't see light. The minute you see light, that's the only light you can see.
Okay. Easier said. I mean, just explain a little more on this.
The very concept of light is not understood by people. The minute you say, I saw light, that's the only light that you can see, the divine light. There is no other light you can see. You only can see objects in light. I can see objects in sunlight, I can see the sun. I can't see anything between the sun and the object which is lit. And what is there between the sun and the object that is lit is light. I can't see that. The day I start seeing that, I am seeing the divine light.
Okay. And where does that divinity take us? I mean,
I haven't gone there. So
okay. Theoretically, what do you say?
Where does divinity take us? Purportedly, it takes us to ultimate joy, ultimate bliss, after which I don't need anything else. I don't know because I have not been there. It's like you asking me to describe a hill station where I have never been.
So, is it something like when we hear in the earlier days, people would take Samadhi? So, is that like out of choice
That's a choice you make.
they've
What is
reached a
Samadhi?
certain-
Samadhi is transiting from this form.
life form to
Where you go, I don't know where the person has gone after he has taken Samadhi. Maybe he has a destination in mind. So, I have lived in, let's say, Mumbai for 25 years. Now, I want to live in Kashmir. Remaining part of my life, I want to live in Kashmir. It's my choice. I transited from Mumbai to Kashmir. I could do it in the physical form. Can I do it in the energy form? That is Samadhi. I chose transition from this location of my body to another location, which body I don't know, but it is by choice. I left this body by choice, that is Samadhi. Many times the spirit leaves the body not out of your choice, because of circumstances, old age, accident.
so
But
that's
when
a
I do
different,
it, it's a development.
okay.
Choice is a development. I choose to be employed in USA as a scientist. Can everybody choose to be a scientist? He has to be qualified to be a scientist. And he has to be selected by USA, appointed by some company in USA to be a scientist there. Everybody can choose to be, but everybody doesn't have the capability to be. So, though I choose to be a spiritually enlightened, evolved soul, do I have the capability, do I have the qualification to do the transition to that level? Only I know. The problem is, many people project themselves to be spiritual without any realization. It's like me describing to you, the best pizza in the world is available in Romania. I have never been to Romania.
Okay.
So, how authentic am I in making that statement?
So, what would you say, like, is there an extent to the enlightenment for a normal
Yes.
living person?
Yes. You light an agarbatti, what is the extent of vision that you have in a dark room? You light a candle, what is the extent of vision in that same dark room? And you light a bulb, and what is the extent of your vision? So, yes, there is an extent of enlightenment.
And we can choose to
You can
go that
choose
way.
what light you want to light. You take your mobile, you have the facility to increase the intensity of light.
Yes.
Your capability of vision increases when you increase the light on your mobile. Spirituality same. Increase the intensity, enjoy the light.
So that also includes like positivity and
Those are techniques.
okay.
Positivity, meditation, breathing exercises, yoga, chanting, all these are techniques. Destination is the same.
Okay.
Enlightenment. The route to the destination can be different. I can arrive at the same destination from different directions.
It's for each one of us to discover the light.
To choose.
To choose.
First is to choose. People don't choose. Once you choose that I want to see light, then whatever is prescribed has to be done. Once you choose I want to be healed of heart disease, then you have to take the medicines prescribed by the doctor. I want to be healed of the heart disease, but I don't want to take the medicines.
That won't happen.
So, first is choice. Many people say that I choose, but they don't actually choose.
So I'm going to end this session by quoting what you have written. Care for the body, develop its might, sharpen our minds, get new insights. If the spirit is lit up, we need to light, celebrate every day our life in light. Live light, spread the light, and be the light.
If you have some questions about life, please connect with us. Do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and press the bell icon for weekly updates.